Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to this vlog. Here to continue with my rankings at the running back position for the 2015 fantasy football season. And for this vlog, I'm going to round up my top 15 overall running backs. Starting at number 15 from Baltimore, I'm going to have to go with Justin Forsett out of the Ravens. Now he had a breakthrough season last season. He had over 1,500 yards from scrimmage. Now they're actually going to have to play, he's going to have a new offensive system with new offensive coordinator in Mark Trestman, who's actually more of a passing, who loves to throw the football more than run the football. So I think that they're kind of going to depend on Lorenzo Taliaferro or Javaris Allen more as far as receiving running backs out of the backfield. So that could lose some touches from Justin Forsett this season. That's why I bumped him back at number 15. And he was actually ranked 8th overall in points at the end of the season 2014. At number 14, I'm going to have to go with Mark Ingram of the New Orleans Saints. Now he finally shown some spark last season, rushed for just under 1,000 yards, but I think he's gonna break that 1,000-yard mark this year if he stays healthy. At number 13, I'm gonna have to go with Alfred Morris for the Washington Redskins. Now each of his seasons as a Redskin, he has rushed for over 1,000 yards, but he has not shown that he could be a receiver out of the backfield. If he was a decent receiver out of the backfield, he would at least be a top 7 running back in fantasy play, one of the top 7 running backs in the National Football League. At number 12, I'm going to have to go with Lamar Miller of the Miami Dolphins. Now, he had a good year last season. 99 yards on the ground and 8 scores, as well as 155 yards through the air. I think 275 yards, in the air and 1 touchdown reception. He's definitely going to be the top back for the Dolphins this upcoming season. At number 11, I'm going to go with Jeremy Hill of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, he's rushed for over 1,100 yards last season, I believe 5 yards per carry, as well as 215 receiving yards. And he should be that more the premier back for the Bengals this upcoming season, but he will split some time with Giovanni Bernard this year. At number 10, I'm going to have to go with LeSean McCoy out of the Buffalo Bills. Now, I'm a little bit worried about him because he is dealing with a hamstring injury, but he should be there for the start of the season. And there is one last scare, and that is Fred Jackson. This player from D3 Nation, he is the Division III player. It's not going away. He's definitely been taking some touches away from C.J. Spiller during his career as a Bill, and he could possibly do the same this year for LeSean McCoy. But I think he's going to be due for at least 1,300 yards rushing this season for McCoy. At number 9, I'm going to go with DeMarco Murray of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, yes, he was the number 1 back overall, but he's entering a new season with a new team. And let's remind you guys, at Dallas, for the Dallas Cowboys, they had a great receiving core, the best offensive line in the National Football League. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles has a decent offensive line, but it's not the same thing. And I think this is going to be a little bit of a scare of a change in pace as well as in that offense. And I think with the signing of Ryan Matthews, I think Ryan Matthews is going to take some touches away from DeMarco Murray. That's why I bumped him back all the way back at number 9. At number 8, I'm going to have to actually go with C.J. Anderson out of the Denver Broncos. Now, last season, from week 12 to the end of the season, he was actually the best fantasy football running back. And I think with the addition of Gary Kubiak as the new head coach for the Denver Broncos, and with that rushing attack that he loves to use, that zone on ground game that Gary Kubiak likes to use offensively, I think that definitely this will benefit for C.J. Anderson. And let's talk about the players that Kubiak has helped throughout the years. There's Arian Foster for the Houston Texans, as well as Steve Slayton, Clinton Portis, and lastly Justin Forsett last season for the Baltimore Ravens. And I think that this will be a great year for C.J. Anderson this season. At number 7, I'm going to go with Arian Foster of the Houston Texans. Now, yes, he's been dealing with a groin injury. He has had surgery, so he should be out from 4 to 6 weeks. But when he is in the back on the field with that, with his cutting ability, I think he's going to be due for at least 1,200 yards this season. I believe 1,500 yards of total offense. He's very effective, and he still has a lot of juice left in the tank. At number 6, I'm going to have to go with Matt Forte of the Chicago Chicago Bears. Now, he is not done. He did average just 3.9 yards per carry, but he is a good, productive back, and he is one of the top receiving backs out of the backfield. He had over 1,500 yards of total offense. I think I see him at least having 1,600 yards this season and double-digit scores. At number 5, I'm going to go with Marshawn Lynch of the not Marshawn Lynch, I'm sorry, Jamal Charles of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is an amazing running back. Now, he did have a down year, but he did play 7th overall last season. He was the fantasy football MVP of 2013, but last season he definitely lost a lot of touches to Niles Davis, and I think this is going to possibly happen the same. That's why I bumped him back at number 5. At number 4, I'm going to have to go with Marshawn Lynch here for the Seattle Seahawks. He actually placed 3rd overall last season, and he's actually had at least 280 rushing attempts over the course of the last 4 seasons. That's actually most in the National Football League, best in the National Football League. Last season he had 1,306 yards rushing, as well as 367 yards receiving, and 17 total touchdowns, placing 3rd overall in running backs in points last season. At number 3, I'm going to have to go with Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is an interesting one. I'm actually following what everybody else is doing because of the fact that Adrian Peterson is reaching 30 years old. Some people are concerned, but he is not coming back from injury. He did not play all of last season, for most of last season, due to the off-the-field issue with beating his son and the domestic violence. But he's definitely going to be. He has been reinstated. He is back with the team for the Minnesota Vikings, and he should be the main go-to guy, and definitely help out the running attack, who needed help last season, even though they did split time with Jerick McKinnon and Matt Asiata. At number 2, I'm gonna actually go with the surprise in this one with Eddie Lacy of the Green Bay Packers. Now, Eddie Lacy is definitely, actually, a lot of people have high hopes for him this year, and Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to be throwing the football in his direction. Last season, Lacy had 427 yards in the air with 4 touchdowns to go along with 1,139 yards on the ground and 9 touchdowns rushing, placing 6th overall in points in fantasy play at the running back position. But definitely Aaron Rodgers and company is going to put the ball more in the hands of Eddie Lacy this season. That's why I have him at number 2. And at number 1, despite the fact that he is going to start the season off suspended, I'm going to have to go with Le'Veon Bell of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He actually led all running backs with over 2,200 yards from scrimmage last season. Actually, no, he was actually second to DeMarco Murray, but Le'Veon Bell did have a great season last season, an amazing year. Now, he is coming back from hyper-percentage knee injury he had last season, but he is an amazing running back, great cut in the ability, great mobility, great shiftiness, as well as amazing patience in waiting for the hole to develop. That is his greatest asset, and I do like him a lot. He is the number 1 guy, and I still see him as a late 1st round pick of this year, but possibly in the 2nd round. But because of his value and as my number 1 projected guy, he is still worth, in my opinion, a 1st round selection. At first, I thought he wasn't, but then I was like, he's just too valuable. Now, even though he's not going to play for the first couple of games of the season, he would definitely be a great part of a team later on in the course of the year. Now, the next time to catch you guys will actually be on Monday, where I will give you my top wide receivers and tight ends. Thank you for watching today's vlogs. I'm your man, LeSean McCoy. Be easy.